Hey folks, it's me, Landen. We had a really rough time recording this episode. There were tons of latency problems, so a lot of the conversation is out of sync. However, our delightful editor, Pumpo, saved us in the edit, so everyone give Pumpo a big thank you, okay? Thank you, Pumpo. Okay? Okay. Now, please remember that you can listen to Code Cleric on any podcast service of your choice and give us some good reviews. Any little bit helps. Okay, I'm going now. Okay, bye. Enjoy the episode. Bye. How are you doing today? You seem a little tired, a little disheveled.
Yeah, for sure. I look a little unkempt right now, for sure. It's been a week. It's been a interesting past couple of weeks. A lot of stuff going on. Moving soon. This might be the last. I think we have one more podcast that we're probably recording that'll be in here. And to be honest, some of this stuff might be taken down by then. But this might end up being the last piece of content that I'm recording in this room, which is
wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah. It became iconic,
sad.
At least in my head. You know.
Yeah, a little bit. That's all I've known. So.
That's not even true. I think I've only had like 4 or 5 videos with this, which seems crazy because most it was still this room. It just wasn't this whole fancy setup I got here. Yeah.
Gotcha. I hate setting up a room and then having to move like a couple of months later.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Don't you have to move soon as well, or are you sticking it out there?
I'm debating on moving. I just moved not too long ago, and I like the place. It's fine, but like, I had the option to like maybe like move in with some people and save a lot more money. Debating it, just don't know what the fuck to do with my lease. That's the only problem. So,
yeah.
Oh, but we'll
you live
see,
in Nebraska. You can break a lease in Nebraska.
I'm sure I can.
If I break a lease in New York, I get taken out to the back and shot in the head. Like the whole housing market here is so rough. Yeah. I hate dealing with all of it.
Yeah, but Cuomo will violently molest you if you break your lease.
Jesus Christ!
So don't fuck around with that shit, man.
It's crazy. God. I have there's so many things around here where it just says like Cuomo is a predator, Cuomo is a sex pest, and it's just like, oh, okay, cool, like just walking around. You know what? I think I see stuff like that, and I think back to when I was like a kid, and how my parents would react, because my parents are very, very they're originally from Pakistan, so when I say conservative, I don't mean like politically conservative. I mean like they are conservative people. Like they keep it tight in the family. They don't like, some of the Western culture stuff. I remember one time specifically, we were in Paris, and there was a bus that went by, and I knew that this was when I was, I don't know, like 14, 15, I think. And there's a bus that went by that just had bare tits on it. Like just complete. I knew that there was like different rules for that for marketing in Europe, and they're a bit more lax on it. But the whole time I was like freaking out, hoping that my dad wouldn't see it. And I see stuff like this, and I'm like, I wonder how many things like this passed me by, and I didn't register, and maybe my dad was like kind of shuffling around me to make sure I didn't see stuff like that.
Today, like even you as an adult. Or...
Oh no, he wouldn't do it now.
Oh,
but
okay.
I would. But the funny thing is, like, I'm like 25 now, and I would still, like, if I'm walking down the street and I see a sign like that, I still get nervous about what he'll say. Like, I feel like he'll get mad at me, and I'm like, well, I didn't do anything.
He's looming over your shoulder, and just
exactly.
like an immense guilt. I get it. I get it. I felt that way when I was really religious, but I am not anymore. So I'm burdened. I'm unshackled.
Yeah,
as it were. I don't know.
Yeah, you're going to hell, but you'll be fine, I think.
Listen, if I'm going to hell, that's crazy.
I thought you were gonna say I'm taking you with me, and I'm like, what did I do? What the fuck?
Say that I'm going to hell. You damned me into an eternal fucking hell pit.
I mean, isn't that the thing? I mean, because your family or your background's it's Christian, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole thing is if you're not religious, or if you're of a different religion, you're going to hell, right? Is that not how it works? Am I stupid?
I think
thought that's how it works.
I think that's Catholicism, like Catholics.
Okay.
I don't really know, honestly, but I think like Christianity, you kind of have you always have the option to be saved. You don't need to, like, I don't know, give the pastor $100 in order to go to heaven. You know,
maybe one of my friends told me this. I don't know what it was, but like if I'm falling off a cliff, and like I know I'm gonna die. I'm heading for the bottom. Life's flashing before my eyes, everything. I'll just like really quick accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure because in Judaism and in Islam, it doesn't actually matter if you're of a different Abrahamic religion. You can still get into heaven. But the thing with Christians, or at least I guess Catholics, they're like, no, you have to accept him as your Lord and Savior in order to get into heaven. So it's just like, that's kind of game in the system. It's just like, real quick, let me throw this out there. I'll be good. I'll be covered. My bases are covered.
It's hilarious. Like, an Old Testament version of that is so hilarious because, like, for instance, Dante's Inferno. When I was reading that, there's the levels of hell, and like the upper levels of hell are for people, like the nicer ones, like the kind of like limbo state is for
like the
people.
Penthouse. Yeah.
Yes.
The penthouse of hell.
It's literally just depression. That's just what it is. It's like you're just in a forest, depressed as hell, and like that's all it is. But
Fields of Asphodel type.
Anyone who didn't accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior would just be damned there. Even if you literally if you were like a tribal like person in like an indigenous island, you just never knew the concept of Jesus, you would just get sent there. It's just like, okay, all right. So crazy technical problems there. Yeah. I lost my camera. Back. I'm back. Yes. Yeah. With a worse camera, but it looks retro. So I think it kind of fits with the topic to which we will, we could do a little segue here. The topic today is retro games.
I like you convincing yourself into a segue. That's how you know the segue worked. Yeah, it's like, I think I could do this.
That was a smooth ass transition. if I'm equivalent to a late night host. All right.
Oh yeah,
I'm doing pretty good here. We're talking about retro games, like our history with them, our experience with them. But we primarily have 3 games that we're going to talk about. 2. Like being the retro games that like really like stuck with us, that like kind of like changed our perspective on these kinds of games, and then 1 that left a poor taste in our mouth. Ugh, blech, nasty.
Exactly, disgusting.
Also later in the show, we will be talking about what we are playing. I am playing Death Stranding. I finally got back to it, but I also played a little bit of Battlefront 2 and Peak as well, and then Asad's playing some BioShock Infinite. And then stick around till the end. Asad will have a little indie game in his little corner that he's going to discuss today's. This
that sounds like a place you regulate me to. In his little corner, he's going to go off, do his little bullshit over there.
It's the pee poop corner that also has indie games. So
exactly,
it's pretty chill. So there's some crazy shenanigans that happened in the time that we were gone. Specifically with everyone's favorite giant mega corporation, Microsoft, and
my boy.
Xbox, the green giant,
Yeah, actually, Landen, there's you. So for people who obviously we cut off while he was figuring out all of his camera stuff, but he is currently stacking his webcam on tons of copies of Berserk, which first of all disrespectful, but we'll move.
You haven't even read it. Shut up.
Listen, I just mean culturally, But so it reminded me because that's how I used to shoot a lot of my videos. I'd put my phone stand on top like a bunch of boxes, like on a chair or something, because there was just there's no desk that really worked with the setup that I wanted to have. And I remember using my Xbox Series S box. That was at the top. That was always at the top. It was the one that was, it had a nice little base on it. And I like to think that I used it more to record videos than I actually used my Xbox. Like, that was the more useful Xbox to me. Was the box that it came in.
It was a good box. I'll attest to that, dude. I really liked. Dude, opening that machine up was actually that was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
No, it's a nice piece of tech. I mean,
it is. Yeah, but that's hilarious. it was a storage device for me. My brother and I, he bought the Series X, and we just would ship it back and forth.
Yeah.
Because he was in California, and he was like, "Can I have the Xbox back?" I was like, "Sure." So I put it in the
Dude,
box,
this is
and
the same
I
thing.
sent it out.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "I don't need it anymore. Do you want to buy it from me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so then he shipped it back in the same box. That Xbox is so fucking battered and beaten.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's this, well, like my brother and I don't send it back and forth because I also like go back home like somewhat often. But we've had this debate of like, should we sell it? Should we keep it? I'm like, I kind of want to keep it because like sometimes I like having the Series S in terms of like. Just I have too many games on my PC. It might be nice to play some games on my TV, right? Like, I don't hate my Series S, but I just found myself playing most of the Xbox stuff on my PC, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of is a testament to where Xbox is headed, I feel like. I mean, I was somebody who grew up playing. My two primary consoles growing up were Wii and PlayStation, right? PlayStation 3, then 4, and now 5. And then I wound up getting a Switch when I didn't get the Wii U, but it was a PlayStation featuring Nintendo house, right? And we were talking about religion earlier. This is the bigger debate of our time, is the console wars. This gets people even more riled up somehow. Yeah, exactly. This is as a PS5 owner, if you're an Xbox fan, you're going to hell, right? That's non-negotiable. So that's what the bottom floor is. That's the basement of hell is for Xbox fans, I think. Anyways, yeah, it's interesting the direction that they're going, and like you said, a lot of crazy stuff has happened with them recently with the layoffs and everything, which has just been just brutal to see. To be honest, it's just like it's one of those things where you just look at it on your screen, you're like, damn, can't do shit about it, and just like it just feels like it's happening so constantly, and especially in the games industry. And I think the craziest thing that was said in the letter where they all got laid off was Phil Spencer mentioned almost in the same sentence as them getting laid off that it was the most profitable year for the gaming division. Like it was like we are at an all-time high, and that was in like the same. Did you read like the full message that he sent?
No.
Let me pull it up while you give off some of your thoughts on this.
Yeah, it's just tragic. It's one of those things you look at it and you read the thing and you're like, so many people's lives are just like totally thrown off kilter and they're like freaking out, and it's just like I can. That sucks, dude. I just feel how horrible their situation is, and even games like Perfect Dark, which looked really cool and promising. I was very excited about the idea of that game.
Yeah.
And the gameplay that they were showing off looked really awesome, and I just gone. 7 years of development just fucking pissed down the drain.
Yeah.
These developers have nothing to show for themselves for a long time now, and it's just like it's really unfortunate. And you got to really wonder like where the buck stops with these.
Yeah.
With these people, it's like I'm sure like that game has taken a long while to make, anyways, and so I'm sure there's like some development problems. The developers couldn't get it to the point that it needed to be at, and then there was too much rope given at the same time, and then it's like Xbox telling them like, take all the time you need. You don't worry, take all the time. They take too much time. Oh, sorry, your game's canceled.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? Like, because some of what came out of this is that it seemed like Perfect Dark. There were some development problems. It seemed like a lot of the gameplay footage that they showed was vertical slices. It was like it kind of had to be hit in the exact right way for it to perform the way it did. Apparently, there was some leeway. It wasn't like completely on rails what the presentation was, but there were definitely holes in it, and it seemed like something that wasn't 7 years into development. But I feel like like as management, as people who are buying this and funding this, it's your job to also make a stance on that. I mean, it's kind of interesting seeing it in comparison to what's happening with Subnautica, which is an ongoing problem. Have you heard about this?
I haven't, no.
Okay, the original creators of Subnautica were just fired. Off of Subnautica 2. Subnautica 2 has been 4 years in development, I believe. And also it happened at a time when Krafton, who's the publisher, was supposed to, if the game sold well in 2025, they were supposed to have a $250 million bonus or something like that for like the whole company or something. And they just delayed it to 2026, so that no longer applies. And people got really mad. And in response, Krafton had this message where they were like, oh, the leadership had not been doing anything. They were kind of like twiddling their thumbs. We had tried to get in contact with some of them, and then they started working on their own like personal film projects. And, you know, they kind of just aired out a bunch of dirty laundry on the production side. And there seemed to be some kind of confirmed reports of those things. And then now, I believe this morning, the Subnautica devs that got fired are suing. So it's a whole crazy,
Nice.
you know, situation. And they're probably, like, I don't know what exactly is going on. We'll probably get more information. I mean, I always think back to that Mick Gordon id Software thing where I don't want to necessarily take a side either direction, where it's like, you know, I'm going to wait until more information is out there. But it is interesting seeing them, like, seeing Krafton as a publisher at a certain point that maybe doesn't feel like it's too late, taking a stance on what the devs are doing and trying to shake things up and trying to get things back on course, rather than waiting an extremely long time and then blaming the fact that like they weren't doing their job properly afterwards and just canceling it and getting rid of the like. I don't even know if what Krafton's doing is good or not, but it just seemed like an interesting comparison between the two, especially considering you know, bigger IP, bigger company over at Microsoft. Also, I'll share this really quick. What was said in the memo. Today we are sharing decisions that will impact colleagues across our organization. To position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas, we will end or decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Out of respect for those impacted today, the specifics of today's notifications and any organizational shifts will be shared by your team leaders in the coming days. I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before. Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap have never looked stronger. The success we're seeing currently is based on tough decisions we've made previously. We must make choices now for continued success in the future years, and a key part of that strategy is the discipline to prioritize the strongest opportunities. There's more to it, but to essentially say this has been the strongest moment in Xbox and then fire a bunch of people is insane. And like you could almost track what he's saying, where it's like the way he's trying to flip it is like, well, we've gotten to this point because we made sacrifices, so we're going to continue making sacrifices and focusing on like the really strong performers and put them out there. But it's just like, especially for a company like Microsoft, where it's you like, come on, man. Like I don't know, it just seems so ridiculous. And
someone needs to there needs to be like a Norman Osborn Green Goblin type guy to just go to Phil Spencer, go to Matt Booty, and then just throw one of those goblin grenades and just disintegrates him into a skeleton. Out am I? Like, I can't. Oh my god, dude. The industry is just at a really crazy inflection point right now, and it's just like, I'm really curious to see where it goes. It's clear that it like this AAA big studio model is like unsustainable for Xbox and even Sony. That they just want more money, and it's clear that they can't get more money like how they are doing it right now. And that's why like Sony's doing that live service shit, but like they're just totally shitting the bed with that. It's funny seeing these companies like hilariously fumble and it just totally shit the bed, especially when there's like obvious decisions that can be made, specifically because there's rumors percolating up that like Xbox has numerous Fallout projects into production now. Fallout is one of the like most commercially successful IPs they own, and they're just now getting multiple games in production. Which sucks, and it's super bittersweet because apparently like a lot of the resources that they diverted from all these layoffs are now going into Fallout. And so including like in the leak it says including the one we've all been asking for. So yeah, it's just apparently a lot of the resources that were diverted to multiple Fallout projects now, including quote unquote the one we've all been asking for, which is either like it's New Vegas 2 with Obsidian, which is amazing, but like now there's forever going to be this stench of like what had to be sacrificed and why these projects are like kicked into gear now because of this. And it's like, why did you not start Fallout projects sooner? Why, when you bought Bethesda, what was it, 5 years ago? You're just now
somewhere around there.
You're just now putting in something for Fallout, dude? Fallout 4 came out 2015. By the time you get another Fallout game that you're just starting now, how many years is that going to take? 5-7 years?
Yeah,
at this
it's
point?
also, this whole thing of them, being so top heavy and focusing on like the highest earners or the things that are really working. It's that like business speak that people are like, oh yeah, investors, yada whatever. But you look at Activision, and yeah, they've gone all in on Call of Duty. They are just Call of Duty now. Toys for Bob doesn't matter. Like they're all working on Call of Duty now, and Call of Duty is a massive earner for them. It is true, but it's also like, especially when you're a platform as big as Microsoft, to be kind of consolidating to such a small playing field. It feels like the opposite of what their whole mantra has been to get to the point that they are right now, where they're like, damn, we do need new IPs, we do need new games, we do need new ideas, right? Like, we're falling by the wayside. Horizon Zero Dawn or just the Horizon franchise has become so big over on PlayStation, right? Like, it's become one of their big hitters. And that was a game that just, it kind of popped up out of nowhere. It was this new idea, like, people really started resonating with it. Like, these things, making new things matters, right? Like, if you're just going to stick to the stuff that's worked the whole time, that's kind of what got Xbox in this whole fucking issue to begin with, right? Like, they were just focusing on, like, we'll be fine. We have Halo, we have Gears, we have Forza. Like, we're fine with our big earners. And then people were like, hey, you have no real catalog here that people are interested in. Look at what Sony's doing. Look at, like, all the new projects that they're producing. And so for them to be, like, effectively saying, yeah, we're going to be focusing on COD, we're going to be focusing on Fallout, we're going to be focusing on all these IPs that we know work. It's like that's not how you have long-term growth, and it seemed like you were starting to understand that, and you were having a broader range of games and IPs coming out recently, and then just completely reverse that entire direction.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seems silly to me, the whole thing.
It sucks. I don't know what they're doing there, dude. It's that company seems suicidal at a certain point. And I'm really curious to see what happens from here on out. But speaking of Sony's side, we can touch on this very briefly. Ghost of Yote had a little live stream thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, speaking of another games, like, they could have just kept making Infamous. Sorry to harp on this even more, but like they could have just kept doing that. And now they have this like this new franchise that people are really digging, and it's putting the pressure on, by the way, another franchise that tried to stick with its guns and tried to like become very top heavy with Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed, and everyone was just like, oh well, Ghost of Tsushima did what they were doing but better. They also have now made a feudal Japan game. It has become completely lost in the zeitgeist. Nobody is talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Have you noticed this? Mm-hmm. Like, for the past couple like, that came out this year, and people were like, oh, it's actually a nice, refreshing Nobody is talking about it whatsoever. Like, it's so crazy how fast that went away. And the fact that, now PlayStation's over here making this new thing with Sucker Punch, and people are excited for Ghost of Yote, and it's going to come out later this year. And you best believe it's going to blow AC Shadows out of the water. I saw that, like you were saying, we saw the footage, and, a lot of it is, just what Ghost of Tsushima 1 did really well, but it just seems like it's building on that base. And it just feels like proof that, like, yes, you can keep doing, like, you can keep putting out new ideas, and then you can iterate on it. But there's an expiration date, and there's like breathing room, and there's diversification, and all the stuff that you need to do over time. Yeah. And just focus on the stuff that's working currently at the top is just silly. I just don't like that.
I mean, this game looks innovative in a way. It looks very iterative of Ghost of Tsushima, which, by the way, is is what Assassin's Creed in Japan should have been the entire time. They should have made that fucking forever ago when they were like, oh, it's the easy one. We don't want to make that one because it's too easy. And then they break glass in case of emergency. They whipped it out, and then it was fine.
Yeah,
but it was too.
Also,
I
love that the idea that it's too easy when they made like 19 games set in Europe.
Yes,
it's like what do you mean easy?
Oh my god, dude!
That was hard mode. What was happening before?
These fucking companies give me agita, bro.
What?
Agita. You never.
I don't know what that is.
Someone doesn't watch The Sopranos. It's like an Italian kind of saying where you're just making my stomach hurt. You're annoying me so hard. You're making me hurt.
I gotcha.
But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, I love that game. But Ghost of Yotei, I was initially just gonna go completely in the dark for. But then like I was like just on my PC and I was on YouTube. I saw the live stream. I was like, fuck, okay. And I clicked on it, and I'm glad I did. I'm also like, I probably should have just gone in blind. There's two things I want to say. One, I love that it's a non-linear story. I love that it's just like, it's like a totally,
that's cool.
That's fucking sick. Just like you're dropped into a world, you just find these guys and you do it however you want to, and I think that's awesome. I love that there's like an immersive element where you're like sitting at a camp. There's like emergent moments that come out of that where like people will approach you and like talk to you and give you stories, send you on a little quest. The customization looks great. There's another thing though that really got me. Ghost of Tsushima had the Kurosawa mode, which is the black and white mode akin to an Akira. Is his name Akira Kurosawa? Fuck, I think so. Be butchering that.
No, I think that's right.
That's awesome. Cool. Glad to see that return. I didn't use it in the original game, but it's still awesome, pretty neat. There's another mode where it emulates another Japanese film director who did a lot of samurai movies that increases more mud and blood, and that's fucking sick, dude. Increasing the mud, blood, and then putting this game on lethal difficulty will make this like, ooh.
Yeah, it'll be a super fun experience.
I'm super stoked for that.
There's also the lo-fi music mode, which I wasn't as interested in. Because it didn't really like the vibe didn't fit for me.
So last time I played Ghost of Tsushima was right before I moved here.
Yeah.
And I was watching Samurai Champloo around the same time. Now, Samurai Champloo is made by the guy who made Cowboy Bebop, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And I was like, I ought to check out Samurai Champloo because, you know, he made it.
Yeah.
I loved it. That show's awesome. It's really great. It's the progenitor of lo-fi hip-hop in a way, with the composer of that show, Nujabes, who's like basically invented that genre, not 100% by himself, but kind of like pushed the domino down. And when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, I was listening to the Samurai Champloo soundtrack, and I was like, this fits like a fucking glove, dude. This is so fun.
Wow.
The meaningless like tasks where you're just running around exploring and like, you know, you're just doing the camp and shit. It was really fun. And when I saw that they partnered with Watanabe, the creator of Samurai Champloo, to do this lo-fi mode, I was like, I felt so called out. I was like, what?
That is kind of crazy.
What the fuck, dude? That's
kind of wild.
I hope it works. I kind of agree that I felt like it didn't fit in the little excerpt that they showed. But I'm still willing to check it out. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to have that mode on the first time I play it. I think that's like a second playthrough type.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thanks.
I mean, that's one of those things also that I feel like I would, if I wanted to do that mode, I would just play normally, and I would have even the same soundtrack that they are putting out there, just have that on in the background, right? Or other music. Like I just want like more control over stuff like that. Also being able to like just pause it during a certain scene or something like, you know, I don't want to give them full control over like where the music is playing unless it's like the dedicated music of the game and the story and stuff like that. So but it's a cool idea. I do dig them, you know, putting that together.
100%. It's really neat, and I like to see like iterative stuff. I mean, innovative stuff like that in games. I hope to see more of it. That'd be pretty cool. But Do you have any other thoughts on Ghost of Yote?
Yeah, last thing I'll say on that is that I'm putting together the sequels video. I did mention it a couple weeks ago. I put it on pause for the last of this video, and hopefully the sequels video will be out sometime around this podcast. But it made me think a lot about this whole like iterative versus innovative, or mechanical change versus contextual change stuff that I'm talking about in that video. And I think this is a good example of, you know, a lot of the visual elements, a lot of the way that, you know, people kind of in their head think Ghost of Tsushima is very similar. And I think it's already gotten like some responses of, yeah, this looks like more of the same, right? Yeah, specifically looks, right?
Yeah.
Like we're saying like how it actually looks. My brother kind of had the same point that he made to me, and it made me feel like weirdly validated in the fact that I was noticing all these small things that they were doing. They were changing up, like the weapon system was completely different, like there's so many additions to combat. The way that the open world seems to be working is completely different. You good?
Just spilled my coffee.
Oh shit. Dude, Landon's having a podcast from hell. He biffed the intro, and then he had the what did he have? You had the internet problems. Then you had
the recording
the
problems,
camera
problems.
Yeah.
Spilled coffee. It wasn't that much coffee. It was, whatever. But
another recording problem later on, or internet problem later on.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
it's
to a
been-
fucking
it's been a time for
dumbass.
you.
I just like this is.
Yeah, that also. Just the fact that you're here is upsetting, I guess. Yeah.
Anyways.
Man. Yeah, no, I'll say that it was very interesting to see how many things that it seemed like they were changing, and how the game would actually be playing and you would be going through it. And a lot of the complaints that I had about Ghost of Tsushima are like, you know, things that could be solved with some mechanical tweaks. Like that game aesthetically is perfect. Like I don't want to change anything about that, right? But a lot of those little things, the activities, I wanted them to go even further into this whole like wind idea, and they seem to be doing that with the cards and other emergent moments. Like that's the kind of stuff that I think will make the game better, and that's the kind of stuff that it seems like they've been working on, and I think it's that, you know, putting out a prediction there, I really think it is gonna hit, but I think there's gonna be a lot of complaints about the fact that it's more of the first game, but a little bit better, and that's gonna dock some points, and I don't think that should be the case. And that's kind of my whole thing with the with that video that's coming out. So interesting, the timing there.
Yeah. We'll just have to see. I'm super stoked. October 2nd, Ghost of Yote. Yeah, really looking forward to it.
October 2nd or 22nd?
2nd, I'm pretty sure.
Is it? Oh.
So it's pretty early. Actually, it's really soon, because it's almost August.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, shit. You know what that also means is coming up pretty soon?
Huh.
Is the next Arkham video that we're
Oh,
gonna make.
yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's going to be a busy time, dude.
I gotta start brainstorming stuff for that, for sure.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Anyways.
sometime. Speaking of old games.
Very much off topic. True.
Retro games. One of my personal favorite gaming pastimes. Nothing like, you know, going to a secondhand store, a vintage kind of shop, or like or an old retro game store, and then just, you know, looking at the shelves, picking something up, dusting it off, being like, oh, I remember this. Oh, this game looks sick. You know, you get that feeling, right? And
Yeah, for sure.
you know, and there's nothing like finding an old game from the past that's like being ported for modern consoles, or remastered, remade, possibly with some new shiny bells and whistles. Listen, there's a lot of awesome games that have been released over the past, what is it, like almost 50 years that video games have existed. And in today's episode, we're going to be exploring a lot of those retro games, as well as picking two that surprised us, and one game that left a poor taste in our mouth. So, technically, PS3 360 games are considered retro, but I think this is heinous. And so, to me, the cutoff for this episode is anything pre-7th generation. So, PS2, PS1, SNES, etc.
The Wii is also 7th generation,
Yes.
so I actually had a game early Wii era, and then I saw your note there, and I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, I think we can do like a 360 Wii era kind of video another time.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd love to talk about that, but for the time being, let's keep it old school. And so yeah, to start, I'm Asad. What is your experience with retro games? Give me a detailed history, a 17-page essay about retro video games.
Okay, it's going to be a 17-word essay because I was thinking about this when we were putting this together. I play a lot of retro-themed games. I don't play a lot of retro games, I noticed. And I think a lot of that has to do with, one, the fact that the earliest consoles that I actually have in my house, that I've, like, gone out and bought because my family did not play games before me. Like, I didn't have anything, like, handed out. Like, I was the first person who went out and started, like, buying games, right? So I didn't have unlimited money to just, like, keep going, like, backwards and play games from, like, back in the day. So the oldest consoles I had were the Wii and the PS3. And then I at one point got that Sega Genesis, like, mini version that they put out later on. It's not good. I wanted it because I wanted to get more into retro gaming, right? Like, that was
wrong
the
choice.
Thing. And one of the
Sega Genesis sucks.
It was
piss.
the wrong choice.
I never liked any game on that thing. I think Golden Axe was kind of cool. I know you like Comic Zone, which I wish I checked
I was gonna say
but.
that was almost that's one that might have made its way on this list if I think I put, like, a little bit more time into it, but I noticed that, like, it just wasn't happening for me. And then like the PS3 and Wii, I don't know, they're in that weird state of modern-ish consoles, but stuff that I just don't want to deal with, right? Like, I recently started playing on my Wii again, and I'm like, oh no, why does it feel like that? Why is it like it feels so motion controls, even just to, like, go through the menu. I'm like, why the fuck does it feel like that? And I go, like, slightly off from the detection bar, and just it doesn't register anything. Yeah, it's just it's ridiculous. So I think that has given me, like, a bit of an aversion to retro games. Not an aversion, but, like, I just, it's harder for me to get in the mood to do something like that. But I've played a few. I have a few that I want to share, obviously. You mentioned Comic Zone. Castlevania is another that I don't have on my list, but mainly just because we've talked about Castlevania a couple times on here. I don't want to harp on the same drum, but that was a really big one for me. But I feel like you have much more of an experience with the whole, like, retro gaming scene, for sure.
No, so I guess I've always grown up with retro games because, like, I grew up with the PS2 for a long while, but it wasn't technically retro at the time. It was more like I had a PS2, I had an original Xbox, then we had a PS3, and then a PS4, and then from there, PS5, PC, all that shit. And growing up, I didn't really fuck with old games that much. I just played what was, like, coming out at the time, and it wasn't until 2020, technically 2019, when I went back to Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic on my phone. I got the app, and I was because you just buy it, and I was playing it, and I loved that game when I was a kid. So I was technically that was, like, my reintroduction to retro games. I had that same Sega Genesis thing for Christmas one year that I really did not like. I mean, I was happy to get a present. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was grateful of that, but it's just like I remember. I remember thinking, I feel like this should be cooler than it is. I'm
gonna get you something Sonic related for your birthday.
My, please don't. This is where my hatred of Sonic started, actually, because I'm
gonna get you fan fiction of Sonic.
Okay. Great. You know me so well.
Yes, sir.
And so
I'm gonna send you I'll send you fan fiction of Sonic, and I'll send you the reveal trailer for KOTOR, and I'll be like, look how exciting! Aren't you so excited? Isn't this so cool, man?
Kill myself live on air and alter the trajectory of your life forever. So yeah, I played KOTOR on my phone, and I had a fun time with that. But I didn't really get into retro games until 2020, when I guess I'll get into my first game that really spoke to me. Until 2020, when COVID hit, and I decided to play OG Fallout, which is not my game.
Okay.
A big Fallout fan, like you guys know, and I always really wanted to play these games. I just couldn't for the life of me figure it out because my Gen Z brain would just fucking shatter at the thought of missing every single fucking hit. But I eventually kind of like looked up like a guide, like a walkthrough to help me ease into it. And then once I eased into it, I just was like, oh, wonderful, got it. Fallout 1 has a time limit. It's like one of those, you have like 100 days to like accomplish a certain task, and it just intimidated the shit out of me. And I
didn't know
really,
that.
It's really cool. It's very stressful though. And then Fallout 2 is wonderful. It's such, I love that. I think that's the second best Fallout game ever made, and it's just it's really great RPG stuff in there. But that was probably the oldest game I had ever beaten up until that point. Was Fallout 1 and 2, 1997 and 1998 respectively. But I did the first main retro game that really cracked my brain open was Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
Which I saw this game as a kid. I have a very distinct memory of someone playing it, and like way back on our old PS2. I don't know who, I don't know where, I don't know when. It just like I just remember the TV. I remember the land, the desaturated, lonely land. You know, this quiet, small guy with a cool sword, like a really creepy temple, and then of course just seeing the fucking Colossus and just like how it totally enraptured me. I was stunned. I was like just flabbergasted. I was like, how could a game like this exist? I didn't even know if it was real. Like, to me, the game was lost to me for many years after that. Like, nothing more than a faint memory, and I just like I couldn't grasp it at all. I just remember like thinking like, did I imagine that? Like, did I just come up with a brilliant game idea, or did that like really exist? And then I got into YouTube. More specifically, I watched a lot of Jacksepticeye and like Markiplier.
Yeah, he's
PewDiePie.
a big fan. Yeah.
And when I was watching Jacksepticeye, I saw that he was playing Shadow of the Colossus, and I was like, "That's the game! That's the game that was in my brain! Holy shit!" And then he played this game on this channel way back. It reignited this love of a game I was never able to play, that I never knew about. I didn't have a PS2. I didn't know there was a re-release for the PS3. So I just watched him play it, and it was awesome. It was really great. Many years later, I think maybe 2017 on PS Now, I tried playing the game for myself. It was like the PS3 HD release that you had to stream.
Yeah.
But I had a miserable time playing it. It was so...
Okay, how much of that is because of PS Now?
Half of it was probably PS Now.
Yeah.
The other half was the controls.
Because for people who don't know, PS Now, at least for the most part, was the streaming service that. So you weren't playing it like locally. 'Cause I remember replaying Infamous 2 on PS Now, and getting like 6 pixels maybe, like per hour.
So like on screen, like
yeah. Like 6 pixels per hour for sure. Like it was just like, oh, here's one, and then you gotta wait like 20 minutes. It's like
that service pissed me off so much.
It was so bad.
This was the only way you could play Fallout 3, Oblivion, or New Vegas on PS4. The only way was that, and I didn't have a subscription, and I'd always use like the free trial and shit. But like, I tried out.
I mean, PS Plus and streaming is still the only way
still
to
the same,
play
which is wild.
Yeah.
But I tried getting into it, but like half of it was PS Now, half of it was the controls, which are weird. They're not great. And this was back when I had no patience for games. So I was like, this is cool. I think I defeated one Colossus, but I was like, that was such a headache. And I kind of moved on. I probably played Fallout for the millionth time after that. And then the remake from Bluepoint released.
Yes.
And I didn't officially get into it until 2020 when it was released on PlayStation Plus. And I finally played the game, and boy, what an experience, dude. It is one of the best video games ever made. In fact, I'd say top 3 games for me of all time.
Wow. Yeah.
If I could save one piece of art, if like the world was like being destroyed, we had to send a capsule of like humanity out, the one thing that I'd preserve is a copy of Shadow of the Colossus remake for PS4.
with a PS4
remake for
It's
PS4.
do
you think do you think that'll upset some people who are maybe like original game purists?
I'd send the original too. I send the PS2 copy, the PS4 copy, just so there's a little you can kind of mix it up. I've played the original as well. I played it on native on PS3 a while back as well. So I am familiar with the old game. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
I do like the remake. It's just a lot easier, and the 60 frames are really nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, that'd be like the one piece of art I would say. In terms of like what I love about this game, dude, the atmosphere is just, it's so somber. The music just really pulls at your heartstrings, and the setup is just so strange and mysterious. I was at work the other day, and I was just thinking about it a lot. I was like, I don't know why I'm just really thinking about Shadow of the Colossus today, and I was listening to the soundtrack on my headphones, and I was like, I want to cry. Like, I went to the bathroom, and I was like, I just wanted to cry listening to it. I don't know what that was about at all, but and it's just, yeah, so the setup is just amazing. It's like, who's this boy? Why is this girl dead? You know, where do they come from? Like, what is this place? He places her on the stone bed. He rips off the cloth blanket, and it's just, you see it flow in the air. It's even on PS2. That's fucking crazy. This game looks amazing on PS2.
Yeah.
By the way, like it
still looks good. Yeah.
It's really wonderful. We then get.
I think it has to do a lot with, like, first of all, the kind of foggy atmosphere of it all, but also the game's so good at using negative space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's its strong, like the fact that the colossi are just, you know, out in the open, like vast distances between them, and there's not a bunch of side quests, there's not a bunch of like different biomes or anything like that. Like, the fact that it's empty is the appeal of it.
Yes.
And the reason why it hits so hard. And so that fact, I think, really helps it age well, at least in terms of visuals.
Definitely.
In terms of how it plays, I have some thoughts, but yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just it's no, like what you said about negative space, it's perfect because like when the camera like pulls out, you see how small Wanderer is in comparison to even his horse, dude.
Yeah.
Like it says a lot about like who this guy is, you know? Like you like in the beginning, it's like you understand that the girl was sacrificed. This boy obviously cares for her. He stole an ancient sword and he stole this horse. It like hammers in this idea that like he doesn't know what he's doing, that like this is too big for him, but he's like capable at the same time. And then you get this Dorman, awesome voice. I love the way that they mixed his voice. We had like that female voice and like the deep male voice. It's a made up language, so like no one can understand it, and it feels so strange and mystical. And I love that Dorman in the game. He's straight up honest about the situation. He's like, yeah, I'm bringing people back to life. You sure you want to do this? There's a heavy price to be paid here. You know, you can kill all these colossi for me, and you can do that. I can bring back your girl. That's fine. But you're going to feel it. And the guy Wander's just like, man, I'll do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. And it's like, it's a total tragedy. It's a mythological tragedy in a video game form. And it's so wonderful. There isn't a single dull moment in this game for me, you know. It's a little to get used to. Don't get me wrong. The controls are finicky, but to me personally, they're really rewarding when you get used to it. It's like, it feels crazy when you pull off a move that like you didn't anticipate at all. You know, where you're like regaining stamina and you let go and like you try walking on the colossi to regain some stamina and rest for a moment, hoping that they don't fling you off, and you can grab the last second and just, you know, stick around for a little longer. You see your stamina bar is like getting smaller and smaller, and you're like, holy shit, can I make this? And you do, and it's so fucking awesome. I love the small things where you can like stand on top of your horse and ride, you know. It's just really, really great stuff, and it's just it's beautiful. And I love how dark the game is. I love how it makes you feel like a hero in the middle of fighting them, and then the second you get that last strike, it's just like, you fucked up. You made a horrible mistake, and it's somber. Fuck, dude. I love this game. I love it so much, I platinumed it, which requires you to play the game 6 or 7 times.
Jesus.
And there's a trophy We have to beat the game on hard mode in under 5 hours and 41 minutes as well. So I speedran this game, and I was able to do it because the New Game Plus is very rewarding. My stamina bar was fucking cracked at the end of it. You get a cool mask, you get a cloth glider as well, and then at the very end you get the really strong sword that helps with the speedrun immensely.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shadow of the Colossus. I can't believe that this game exists, and I love it with all my heart. But I wanna hear your thoughts.
Well, yeah, it's a game that I have such an immense respect for. I didn't play the original version. Again, like I didn't have access. I knew that I only found out the PS3 version existed after the remake had already come out, and I was like, you know what? I've heard of Shadow of the Colossus. This is like the most accessible way that I can play it. So I did go into it that way. I will say even the remake itself like doesn't play the best, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a game that for reasons like that, it's not one of those games that I'm like it's in my top whatever games of all time, but it's one of those things that I have such a deep love for. It's an undeniable piece of art. I understand why it has impacted so many people, and it's also impacted just visually and in terms of like the tone and what I like about games. It's so unique, right? Like so many parts of it have really stuck with me, even if, you know, it's not one of those games where I'm like, oh man, I really want to go back and play Shadow of the Colossus again, right? Or a game that I would platinum or something like that. I still have a love for it in my heart, and I think that, you know, it does. Like I said, it does a lot of things that a lot of other games don't do, but it also has one of my favorite things in games, which is scale and just communicating scale in really interesting ways. That was one of my favorite things about the original God of War series. Also Solar Ash, which is a game that's it seems very obviously inspired by Shadow of the Colossus. If you don't know what that is, it's a game by the Hyperlight Drifter devs. They went into 3D, and it's very flowy. You kind of have this like skating energy through these cloud things, whatever. And then there's these giant colossi type, but it's much more, you know, it's a lot easier to control. It's super fluid and
looks like the Pathless.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Pathless. You're a big fan of the Pathless, right?
Yeah.
You should play Solar Ash. I think you'll really, really like it. It's kind of like the Pathless meets Shadow of the Colossus.
Stop, bro.
So like, but I will say like obviously there's more of an arcadey action vibe to it, so it doesn't have the same atmosphere, which is what I think makes Shadow of the Colossus the game that it is. But in terms of the element of scale, you know, that's something that I really, really appreciate and enjoy in a lot of games. So I would still consider myself a huge fan of Shadow of the Colossus. I just wouldn't put myself in that place where I'm like, oh man, like it's one of my favorites, and I go around like talking about it constantly. Like, but I still really love it.
There is no game that does scale like Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like how they make the Colossi feel that big is remarkable.
Yeah,
it is true. I've never felt anything like that in a game since. I think the closest is God of War. Even in the new one, seeing Jormungandr, like how big he is, you feel how big he is, but it's a little flat because you can't really interact with him at all, which sucks. But God, dude, what a game! And I totally understand. It's like it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I think I think it's fine to not jive with a certain control scheme, you know, but like still respect it for what it is. Not that you're wrong for that at all, but just what a game, dude. I just like, I feel like such a copycat too, because I know this is like this is like Jacksepticeye. It was his favorite game of all time, but it was usurped by Bloodborne, which is also one of my top 3.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like, what the hell?
I mean, it makes. I think that we talked about how Castlevania and Bloodborne / just the From games have so much overlap in terms of, you know, you'd probably like one if you like the other.
Yeah.
I think Shadow of the Colossus is very similar. I think you'd at least appreciate what it's doing if you're a FromSoft fan.
For sure. And I mean, not Shadow of the Colossus, but the game before it, Ico, is what inspired Miyazaki to get into games in the first place.
Yeah,
So it's like,
exactly.
of course you can see the similarity there. Which, speaking of which, Eco, wonderful game, dude. Oh my god, that game is so good too. It's not as good as Shadow of the Colossus, but like I mean, the controls are worse in that game, in my opinion. They're infinitely worse. But which is strange because that game, by all rights, should suck. Because it's like, let's make Shadow of the Colossus, but have it control worse. It's an escort mission, and there's no swords or colossi.
Yeah.
And it's like,
oh, so it's just running across land, you mean?
yeah. But it works. It's just, I think that game's super special as well. And The Last Guardian I even kind of like too. I haven't beat it, which is unfortunate. I actually really want to get to it, but I didn't mind it when I played it.
I'm really excited for their next project. It has like has a really interesting vibe to it. And they're the only people who are making games you cannot, unless you're an indie dev who's essentially just copying Shadow of the Colossus, you can't make a game like this. You can't make a game with this much emptiness today. Like people,
No.
But like the amount of patience that it requires from you is the kind of thing that like you'll never get anyone to agree with like, oh, this is the whole thing. It's like, well, where are all the other elements? This is like the tech demo version.
Where are the
this is
side quests?
Yeah. Although I will say, a game that we saw at PAX that we've talked about before, but I just want to talk about it because maybe it has something in the same vein. Spider Lily, I think it was called.
I thought you were gonna talk about Crimson Desert.
No. Completely opposite.
It's like open up that can of worms
again. Spider Lily has this interesting element to it where it does seem like just being there is the game in a lot of ways, and then the scale and the different like artistic outputs. I think that's something to maybe keep an eye on if you're a fan of this game. But yeah,
for sure. How did they describe it? Like a cinematic platformer?
Yeah, which isn't like on its own a completely unique thing. Like there's cinematic platformers out there, but the way that it works,
Eco
I was like
definitely...
It was one of those games where we were playing it, and obviously it was like super, super, super early, and it was a tech demo. But I was like, oh, is this the whole thing? But that's in a way that's also the thing that Shadow of the Colossus gives you. It's just then all the additional elements of, like you said, the atmosphere, the scale, the like tragedy behind it, the fact that this is like really your only course of action. You're not some dude who's going around like helping out the town. This is your one purpose, and you're doing some horrible deed. Like the this is all you're doing idea kind of gets flipped on its head, and it's like, yeah, this is all you're doing. Right, so I think that's very interesting take, very unique thing still to this day, and yeah, for
sure. Ueda, I believe his name is, wonderful creator. I'm super excited to see what he has cooking up. I'd love to see the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that does it for me for my first entry. I'll get deeper because like Shadow of the Colossus is like. It helps me kind of like understand that like, oh, old games are good.
Yeah.
They can't just be good. They can be like mind breaking. And I'll get into it deeper because I had a very similar experience after the fact. But I want to hear your first game that you have on your list here because I know you don't have a lot of experience with retro games, but I'm curious about
the ones that did make the cut. Yeah. So my first game is, I think, an interesting one to talk to you about right now because of what you have just very recently played. And that was also my first introduction to this series, and then I went back to the originator of the whole thing and was just so shocked with how it held up. I feel like you probably know what it is.
Doom?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nice.
Doom 1993.
That's the original?
Yes, that's the original game. Obviously, you were talking about, like, in the last podcast, how much you enjoyed Doom 2016, how well designed it was, how there were these extra elements to it that, this is a game that is going around and shooting demons, but it just has this weird depth and like just this thing that holds you for some reason. This atmosphere, the gore, even like just all these different elements. They're so fun, and it's so interesting going back to the old games and realizing that for about 30 odd years, Doom has been the same but always fresh. Like, it's such a like going back and actually the first time I played the original Doom was in Doom Eternal. Do you know about this?
No.
So in Doom Eternal, you can collect a bunch
of the retro
like,
Marines like figurines, or that's in 2016.
No, it's similar to that. Like you get like these figurines for all the demons and stuff like that. Once you get all of those, or maybe it's a different collectible. Maybe it might be there's like scratch disc collectibles as well. It might be that one. And if you collect all of those, you can put them into this computer that you have in your like little home base in Doom Eternal, and you can play the entirety of Doom 1 on your little computer in your home base. And then you can also put in a cheat code into that computer, and that'll unlock the entirety of Doom 2. So 2 full games are just sitting inside of Doom Eternal, right? Like,
well, they're like what, 3 megabytes each?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, and they're also like super cheap. But the fact that they just put like, that's my all-time like favorite Easter egg. That, like, personally, is just like, oh man, that's so fucking cool.
I love when games do that. It's similar to Uncharted 4 with Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the entire game's in there, but like it's the fact that you can play it for a decent amount of time is just so awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was my first experience with it. I've played it once since, and I've also played Doom 2 through that. And it really is just, Doom has always been go around, shoot demons. The demons have been largely the same. The majority of the cast of demons that you have in all of these games is in Doom 1, which first of all is insane. Like they still had like the Cyber Demon and like all these other dudes in there. But the fact that they have just managed to evolve and improve this series over time and still keep it basically exactly in spirit what it was the first time is kind of mind-blowing to me, right? Like you think about any other series that's lasted that long and it's been rebooted, it's been changed. You look at Final Fantasy, it started turn-based, now it's like real-time, right? You look at Zelda, it started top-down, now it's 3D, and like all these different changes. They keep reinventing themselves, and then you look at an Assassin's Creed or a Call of Duty, and they keep it the same way for so long, and people are like, well, this is just the same thing over and over, right?
Yeah.
Doom exists in this really weird spot where it's always doing something new. It always feels like it's improving the FPS genre. It always feels like wow, I really want to play this game, but it's the same game over and over. It's so interesting. I think it's so cool.
It's like it's a continuation too.
Yeah.
There hasn't been like a crazy. I don't. Is Doom 3 like a reboot or
no? Doom 3.
Does it take place in the same continuity?
Doom 3 is the only one of the main series that I haven't played. I believe it takes place in the same continuity. Also, the continuity stuff is like a little bit different. I think 2016 is like a little bit different, and then Dark Ages does like a backstory. They've like changed up a couple things, right?
Because like when I was playing Doom 2016, like what I was like coming to understand is that like the Doomslayer is already established. They already know that this guy's like going around fucking shit up, and I assume it was like kind of calling back to one, not only the Dark Ages, but before that, like Doom, the original Doom games proper, and how this guy has just been going through hell and like tearing up these demons for like God knows how long, that he's become almost like a mythological demon like status. And it's like that's awesome, and I love that like they kind of like that's a really interesting story to tell under the surface, because when you play Doom, you don't give a shit about the story. It's not about the story, but like the fact that there's like a little like meta story there is really cool.
That's like the one thing that I'm not the biggest fan of when it comes to Eternal and the Dark Ages, where they try to give a little bit more backstory. Like obviously like the Slayer's not talking or anything like that, but I'm like, I just like the fact in a lot of the original games and in Doom 2016 where he's just shut up and he's just going through shit, mowing things down, and the mythology comes from like how things are reacting to him and the fact that he's just been around doing this stuff for so long. But yeah, like the original Doom is one of those things that it seems too primitive to work nowadays. It seems like it shouldn't, you don't have like a reticle on your gun, right? Back when, because obviously, like id Software, I just feel like they get not enough credit in the modern day for what they truly did and what they continue to do. but id Software started this entire genre, right? Wolfenstein 3D. Obviously, they didn't start the Wolfenstein series, but they did Wolfenstein 3D, and that was the first ever FPS, right? Doom established a lot of modern FPS tropes, or the ones at the time, and then also like later on. Half-Life also contributed to that, but that was also way later. And then like
Not even.
Quake,
I'm sorry.
more Wolfenstein stuff, more Doom stuff. Like they have, and they've not made like a bad game in that entire stretch, right? Even Doom 2 and Doom 3, like Doom 2 is very similar to Doom 1, but it's still really fun. Doom 3, I think, is the quote-unquote worst received Doom, but even that one is like fairly well liked. Like people don't hate that game.
I think it's more of like a misstep and like a taste thing, because honestly, Doom 3 is the one I actually played when I was a kid.
Oh.
And it scared the shit out of me because they decided to go survival horror.
Yeah.
Which is not. You are the horror in Doom,
Yeah.
and for it to kind of like flip is really interesting. But like that game scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
the Hell Knight, like on the cover, like it was so gross and like disgusting. It just like it freaked me out, bro.
That's funny that's the only one that I haven't played. I know there's also like
Yeah.
Final Doom and Doom 64, but those aren't id, from what I know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways, it doesn't seem like it should work. It doesn't like it like they started out this entire genre. You don't have reticles. Your gun's like in the middle, but like in a way that it would never make sense, right? You kind of can't tell always that you are actually like your shots are making impact. And the way that it looks is kind of tech demo-y, right? Like especially when you get into like some open areas, it looks like just a big grid, right? A big open white grid. It shouldn't work in the modern sense. Like obviously, you know, taking it in the historical context, of course, like there's nothing wrong with what it was doing, but like you would think that somebody playing it for the first time now would be like, clearly outdated. It's so weird how it holds up. Like it holds up better than Shadow of the Colossus, for example, in terms of like the original, like just playing it. You know, they layered these levels really interestingly. The whole like getting the secret keys, going back, you know, that kind of almost Metroidvania element at the time when Metroid and Castlevania were also still sort of making their inroads, and you would never see this kind of thing in a 3D space. This kind of established that idea in a 3D space. And the variety of the demons and how the weapons feel and the crunchiness and like the funky like music, like it's just so fun. Like it's just one of those games that makes me appreciate like the entire legacy of that company. And it's also not that long. It's I think you can beat it in like 5 hours. I think that really helps for retro games for me.
Yeah.
And obviously it has like the goofy little like storytelling in between, like when you're like selecting the levels that you're going through, and it's like bloody overlay of the text. It's silly, but it has this fun.
It has so much character.
Yeah, it really does. It has character, and it's you know, dark
even
and
like
violent, but it's
the Doom guy's face. Like as like the lower health you have, like he's just bloody and he looks fucking mangled.
It's so
and
ridiculous.
scary. It's like
it has a great atmosphere and it has like the dark, violent edge to it, but it also very clearly has that like tongue-in-cheek element to it of, you know, even like our early Mortal Kombat stuff, right? Where this is kind of gonna piss people off, especially at a time when people were really, really sensitive about video game violence and stuff like that. But yeah, what a game.
I love how this game is like. First of all, another avenue that it does well is community support. How like people would just make maps, and it was like the first kind of instance of just like a community just like breathing life into this game indefinitely, with Doom Wads and. How even that was like controversial as well in some cases with the Columbine kids and all that shit, and how people
I
would,
didn't know
recreate
about that.
like awful.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's bad stuff because like they targeted Doom because they were big fans of the game, and they were like, look how violent and bloody and gory it is, and this is, I think they like I might be confusing another instance. I think they like recreated the school's map in Doom,
Oh.
or if not them, someone did.
Yeah.
Which is really gross, but it's like it's a testament to the internet, you know. Like, and if you make community shit like this, you're gonna get that stuff, for better or for worse. And I also just love how this game is so ubiquitous and being ported to everything. How you can play this thing anywhere.
Yeah.
Even on like the most simplest of technologies. I've seen Doom running on a fucking pregnancy test, bro. Like it's crazy how you can just make this game work. And I have a fond memory of I was taking IA Tech, which is like an industrial kind of like woodworking, welding type class freshman year of high school. And I remember being bored out of my mind. I just finished the test and I was like, you know what? I looked up Doom on my school computer and I was playing Doom with like on it, and it was a grand old time. Yeah, what a game, what a series, and just remarkable pivotal kind of moment for the games industry, responsible for like half of all games being made now.
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah. Are you satisfied with?
Yeah, that's me. That's my thoughts on Doom. Really big fan of the whole franchise. I do eventually want to get to Doom 3 because it's the only, and I guess Doom 64 as well. Just because they're the only gaps I have there. But yeah, if you haven't played the old Doom games, you should do it. It's really easy to play them. You can play them on anything, like Landen just said, and they kind of hold up. So yeah. What is your next one?
So yeah, my next one. So Shadow of the Colossus was like the game that kind of like broke my mind into being more open about like retro games, as well as Fallout. I can't deny that Fallout was like a huge one, especially because those games were a lot more tough. Those games were way harder to get into than Shadow of the Colossus ever was. But I got a random spur of nostalgia. I think it was. I looked up the date because I downloaded the game the same day.
Right.
On October 27th, 2020. And it just this random like speck of nostalgia just totally changed the way I played games forever. There was a moment I was looking into Final Fantasy. I don't know why. I was just like feeling really nostalgic, specifically for Final Fantasy 12, which is the underrated PS2 entry that was the one I grew up with.
Right.
It was very similar to Oblivion, where it's like huge, expansive game. I loved the vibe. I did not understand that game at all. It was too complicated for me, but it was really cool. It's like this futuristic Aladdin in like a big, beautiful city. And oh my God, dude, I can't even begin to describe how nostalgic that vibe and specifically the song of that like first area is. It's called Streets of Rabanastre. And I was listening to it last night and I was like welling up. I was like, fuck, it's so good. It almost sounds like a whimsical Harry Potter song that I think about.
Okay.
It. Like,
I don't know anything about
want to
Final Fantasy 12, to be honest.
It's pretty cool. It has like a MMO style fighting system, which is really strange, where it's like you kind of like set up a list of moves for your characters and then you have them like auto a battle for you. And it's kind of bad, but it's also interesting, and it's very unique. And in order to actually like fight and have it be like manageable, you have to speed up time. And so there's like a ×4 button as your characters are just like whacking away at this fucking guy, but there's a little strategy to it as well. It's like you want to stop and like heal people up or like activate buffs and shit. It's really cool. I really like that game, but it's weird. And I didn't want to buy that game at the time. But I was still interested in playing a Final Fantasy game, and that's when I was. It's similar to Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. That's when I saw Final Fantasy VII on the App Store, and I was like, whatever. I was in yearbook club, and I was like, frick it, dude. I'm just gonna buy this and play it. And later in the day,
what does yearbook club have to do with that?
I'm setting the vibe.
Completely different, like absolute non sequitur.
I was the only guy in that class. I was the only man in that class. It was a cool class. It was fine.
Wait, so
But
you said yearbook class? There was a class for yearbook?
it was called yearbook club, but it was a class, which is really strange. And we were,
But what
we
is
were
it?
just, what is there to not
That's
understand?
what people. I've never heard of yearbook. I haven't even heard of a yearbook club, to be completely honest with
Did you not have yearbooks?
We did, but it was just like a couple of ragtag people. They didn't have a club. They just kind of put it
They had
together
a club.
last minute.
They had a club.
I don't know. It was. They didn't. They were like my friends. They didn't have like dedicated time. It was just like a thing that it was. Well, to be fair, my school was weird. It was like it wasn't a public school. It was
Oh,
a charter
really?
school. It had like. Yeah, and there wasn't like a lot of
Yeah.
funding in it, so it was just like, just like throw some shit together, whatever. Let's start a fucking a newspaper. Like it was so completely disorganized. But just the idea of there being not only a yearbook club, but the fact that it was like a registered
Yeah.
course. Did you get credits for it?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
insane. No wonder the youth is so stupid. What the fuck you doing getting full class credits
Actually, it was
for
a
yearbook?
really cool learning
What?
experience. I learned a lot of like journalistic kind of shit with that class, where it was like Landen, you gotta go to this track meet and take pictures. And I was like, okay. And so after school, I would drive down like to this like town that was relatively nearby where the track meet was being held, and I'd take pictures and report back. I had to track people down. Like people would just give us pictures that we were putting in the yearbook club, and it's like, okay, figure out who that guy is, that girl, that guy, and that girl, what their names are, what class they're in, and I had to like message random ass people on Instagram to be like, hey, are you this person? And it sucked, dude. But it was also kind of like it was a good learning experience at the same time. So shut up.
So, that was a whole tangent,
No,
but I was
yeah,
just like, so
you're
I've
good.
never heard of this before.
So yeah, I was in that class. We didn't have anything to do. I bought Final Fantasy VII on my phone, and I started playing it. And I specifically started playing it when I was taking the bus to my downtown classes, which you're going to get a kick out of this. We would leave high school we'd take the bus all the way to downtown, where they had like another kind of like school system down there. And that's where I took a lot of video production classes down there, which really gave me like a good jump start on a lot of that stuff. So I had a lot of time to kill in between the bus rides, and I'd play Final Fantasy VII on my phone, and I loved it. The game was so goofy. The vibes were immaculate. The music fucking hit me over the head. I was like, I didn't know PS1 music could sound this good. Like, what the fuck? And over months, I started just slowly chipping away at this game, and I adored every minute of it. I was working at a coffee shop, and we had a lot of downtime, and I'd just be sitting playing it on my phone there in between orders, and I would play it super late at night on my phone in the shitty little bed, laying with my dogs. And at the time, I was living in a trailer park, and outside there'd be like dogs barking constantly, super loud cars, fucking revving like crazy, blasting their shitty music, and then annoying ass neighbors that would scream at each other in the middle of the night. And I look back on that time with like rose tinted glasses, it's just like it was a vibe. It was really comfortable for me, and I just like I felt, especially with my dogs being there, it was like really cozy. And it was the game that got me into retro games proper. I had played like Shadow of the Colossus, KOTOR, classic Fallout, but Final Fantasy VII spoke to me in a way that I can't even explain. The combat is superb. Just I know a lot of people are like, it's turn-based and you get the random encounters, and it's like, you can't handle that. Me personally, I'm fine with it. It's annoying. Don't get me wrong. It's really annoying. And I turn it off sometimes, all right? Like, there's just moments where you're just like, I just want to get through this area. I don't fucking...
Oh, you can turn that off? I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
you can turn... Well, in, like, the modern releases, you can turn it off. You can also speed up time, and then there's, like, a cheat mode where it's just, you hit 9,999 damage at a click of a button. The only one I would ever activate is the no encounters at certain moments where I was just getting annoyed. And I love the characters. I think the characters are awesome. Cloud is so fucking cool. He's such a little edgelord. I think Barrett's awesome. Tifa, I had a crush on her. Freaking...
Of course.
And the pre
We're gonna have we have my indie corner. We're gonna have
Landen-
Landen's Gooner corner for every single one of these. What do we got? We got GTA S. We got Elizabeth. We got Tifa.
Yeah.
I feel like there is one more, but you're on a roll.
Listen, I think I'll mention more as time goes along, and I think people are gonna find that I have a time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and dude, the pre-rendered backgrounds, beautiful, absolutely stunning. I just loved it so much. There's so much I know.
It's definitely got like a very interesting visual look.
It does, yeah.
Like
it's because there's like really beautiful backgrounds, and then like the shittiest looking characters, like the fucking Popeye arms, like it's so fucking funny. But
I also just said visual look. I just want to point to that, being like, what was that?
I know you
What do you
meant
mean a visual look? Also, you mentioned this like, strange difference between the background and the foreground. It reminds me a lot of that the game that I just showed you, Felvedek.
Yeah.
Like obviously like different vibe, but it's clearly trying to emulate that.
For sure.
I think it's turned into obviously what was a constraint turned into this weird hybrid, like, oh, elements of this can be cool, but elements of this are still held back, into now just a new style that you can emulate, which is I always find that really cool.
It's really beautiful, and I think Final Fantasy VII does it in a really amazing way, even if it is a little jarring. And there's like an emotionality with this game that really resonates with me. This like story about saving the planet Earth from like a giant comically evil mega corporations, just really, really, I don't know. It's very 90s, like pro Earth, like green, and I love that. I'm a big tree hugger, and eventually experiencing this feeling of loss when Aerith is ripped away from you, and it's like that's awesome.
She's what?
Yeah, sorry.
Imagine if I actually didn't know that though.
I was gonna put a joke
because I haven't played.
I was gonna put a joke in here, but too soon. And yeah, I finished this game at a very like formative time in my life. It was COVID. I got my own car around that time, and I was able to go to retro game stores by myself with my little brother and dad. Really, that was awesome. And through that, I was just so interested in recollecting games that I had when I was a kid, and that's when I rebought Final Fantasy 12 for the PS2. I got Wind Waker, Zelda Wind Waker around that time, and I remember playing Zelda very distinctly in the past, Twilight Princess specifically, but Wind Waker we checked out, and I fucking loved that game, dude. And I was interested in getting back into the old Grand Theft Auto games, blah 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 blah. Like I was really feeling it, but things in life were like just very bittersweet around that time, and for some reason Final Fantasy VII was just a source of like respite for me. Especially when I got around to the remake after that and bonded with my older brother over that game because he was super stoked for that game. He fucking loves that game. Not anymore. He fell off, but and then years later, this game is just really stuck with me, and it got me to play the other entries. I love Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy V is a ton of fun. 6 is amazing, even though I still have yet to beat it. 8 didn't care for it at all. I think 8 sucks. 9 is wonderful. Hate that art style. I want you to.
I've heard 8 is good. People like that.
A lot of people. It's hit or miss.
Is this a hot take?
I don't think it's a hot take because it is very divisive. I just don't like the systems in that game, and I think I can probably give it another try. But look up the art style of Final Fantasy 9.
Yeah, I started. Hold on, let's see. I don't think this looks that bad.
You don't think so? It's very hit or miss. I like Vivi, the mage. He looks fucking sick. I love that design, but everyone else just looks very uncanny to me.
Yeah, there's like elements of it that look strange, and elements of it that I think look kind of cool for a retro experience. Yeah. Because they kind of have that same like stationary, high quality background look, but it's more pixelated and more. It looks more like it's really a part of the environment, and yet somehow still looks super detached from it.
It is the best looking PS1 game. I will give it that. But in terms of like the character design, it's a little strange.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
It's wonderful, but and it's a really cool return to form. 10 sucks. 11's an MMO. Fuck that. 12 is my third favorite, I think. 13 I've yet to play. 14 I will never play. 15 is boring, and 16 is so fucking good, dude. Oh man, I love that game.
16 is the only one that I beat.
Yeah, it's.
I beat 16. I've played 7 remake, but only maybe like 5 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
And then have I played any others? I've played like a touch of 15.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think you'd like 7 remake, honestly. If you,
I do want to go back to it, but I have so many games that I
that's
wanna go
that's
back
totally
to.
fair. Yeah. Like,
My backlog's ridiculous at this point.
Yeah. To put a cap in this, the Final Fantasy VII compilation, so it's like all the original game and all the spin-offs, has remained like a really great source of comfort for me since then. It was there for me when my girlfriend at the time left me for someone who I thought was my friend.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, dude, this guy was like...
Oh, no.
I made friends with this guy. We made friends with this guy. And I was like, oh, he's really funny. He's really cool. And then randomly she just started like driving him home. And I was like, what's up with that? That's a little... And I told her beforehand, I was like, he totally has a crush on you. And she's like, what? No.
When was this? This was in high school?
Yeah, this is high school. And I was like, he totally does. And I like laughed and joked about it. And then she started taking him home from school. And I was like, what? Are you all right? That happened. Yeah, that sucked. But whatever. It was better off without it. And it was there for me when Crisis Core re-released, and that was around the time my mom had to go to rehab, and I had to take her in and out, doing all that stuff and take care of her for a bit. So it was like a great source of comfort for me there. And just last year, with the release of Rebirth, it was there for me when I moved into my first apartment. But shortly after I left my home, my dog, one of the dogs I was living that slept with me when I was playing the original game, Blossom, she got really sick, and so we had to put her down, and it was awful. I felt sick after that, and I'd go home every night after work and just would play this game, and it was just so cozy and it was so comforting, and it's really poignant because that game's also there's a point of loss in that game that it speaks to, and it's about what happens to people when they die, and it really spoke to me, and it really was a good means of escapism. Very clear, so very obscure. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII. What a game. What great comfort food. And since then, it got me into a lot of JRPGs after the fact. But that's all I got.
Yeah, it's so nice to have something like that you feel like you can turn to when things just aren't just something very familiar, even if it kind of doesn't make sense. Like for at some points in my life, I feel like Sekiro has been that game over the last few years, which is such a funny game to consider my comfort food when it's literally beat me over the head so many times.
You're a masochist, bro. It's okay. You can just say it.
I mean, at this point, I've just gotten so good at it that that's almost the comforting part of it, where I'm this was a thing that had a vice grip on me at one point, and now it's just completely turned around. And
yeah,
but I feel like that's going to be an interesting part of getting even older and these games becoming entering that retro era, where you mentioned that PS3 games technically will count in this, and the Uncharted franchise is in there. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure at a point where I'm 40 something, right? Uncharted will be a huge comfort food for me. It's so interesting, with these retro games. A lot of the times it feels like I am going back in time to a point that I have no, I have no real 1993. It was 7 years before I was born, right? It's Doom. Doom is. I look at it and I'm that is old. That is before my time. That is something that I'm specifically going back to because it is this old piece of software that I want to check out, right? But when it can be connected to actual points in your life when you played back then, which I don't think it's happened to me just because I started playing late, and my first touchstones with it are really in when I was 11, 12ish. When that really starts feeling like it truly is retro experiences and stuff like that, that is going to be an interesting moment for me. and
Yeah.
I think it'll bring me a lot of the same comfort for sure. So,
Do you get nostalgic for time periods you were not alive for?
no, I wouldn't say so.
Really? Damn,
I
dude,
wouldn't
I
say
get
I-
nostalgic for the 90s, even though I was most definitely not around. Like, playing Final Fantasy VII just makes me, like, it transports me into, like, I'm, like, in the headspace of, like, it's the 90s, I'm playing this on a CRT, and, like, I'm, like, with a PlayStation 1, you know? It's just, I get nostalgic for it, because, like, I'll see pictures of, like, my dad around that time, and I'm just like, oh, I get it. I understand the vibe there. You know, he'll tell me stories, and, like, I'll like, understand that period of time, and I can just literally project myself into that thing. And, like, even early 2000s, a time, like, I was just barely alive in, you know. I'm like, fuck, dude. Spider-Man 1 really got that vibe. They got it down, man. And I'm just so nostalgic for fucking newspapers and shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of I would say some of it probably has to do with the fact that, one, you're just being nostalgic of the time that you were playing it, and when you're thinking of it, you think of that, like, CRT 90s era, and you know, it kind of connects those two together. That probably has something to do with it, and I also think the fact that, like, you have so many shared interests with your dad, and, like, just so, like, that previous generation kind of, you know, moving into it, because you mentioned you saw your dad playing games when you were growing up, and that's how you got into Oblivion and a lot of other, like, Fallout, stuff like that. It's very different for me because, like I said, like, my dad didn't do this, and my mom didn't do this stuff, my older sister didn't do this stuff. Like, it was really like, this is my thing that has started at the time when I'm 11. So it really does feel like that's that starting point, and I get nostalgic for those times, but it's not to the same degree as, like, oh, this was a whole different era of media, right? Like, it was a whole different era in my life, but it wasn't like, I look back at Uncharted 1 and I'm like, yeah, that's a hot minute ago, but it still looks like, you know, what's going on right now to a certain degree. And I think once I get more removed from that, it's going to have different effects on me to go back and, you know,
sure.
I mean, I also just love playing Uncharted when even if I'm, like, feeling down, just that's another one of those classic ones for me.
God,
So.
it's just fun. It's so fun. I guess I'm a deeply nostalgic person, like, very much. It's to a detriment at points where I'm just like, I think up until recently, I had a really hard time of, like, removing myself from the past and getting out of, like, playing the same old things and actually living in the present, you know, which it sucks here, man. It's so bad. It sucks. I understand why I'm so nostalgic all the time. But it's just like, I think, for better or for worse, Final Fantasy VII was, like, a progenitor of that, where it's just like, no, be here for a bit, just be back here, and then leave when you're ready, you know. And it's I don't know, it's very, very interesting. But that does it for me. What is your second game here?
I feel bad because you have, like, such personal stories on these, and I have these, and I'm just like, oh, this game was fun, man. Like, I played it was cool.
I mean, that's what video games should be. It's all right.
I mean, this is one that I actually played, like, super recently, and I just is weirdly, like, off the back of playing a much, much, much more recent game and just being like, man, I want to see the origins of all of this. And it was very similar to Doom. I think that actually, I'm thinking about the third game, even the one that I didn't end up vibing with, right? A lot of it comes from, I'm playing something right now that I'm like, man, this is something that really makes me want to go back and play these older things. Like, it was, Breath of the Wild was my first Zelda game, right? And then I was like, well, I should go back and play some of that. And I still have to get to a lot of them, but, you know. But this one, particularly, is one that I thought held up in a really interesting way, and I thought was still unique in the context of when it came out and now, and that's Max Payne, the original Max Payne.
Oh shit, dude!
Yeah. So I have always had, again, a respect for Remedy's work, but I never truly loved a game that they made until Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is, it's got to be in my top 10 at this point. I almost undoubtedly has to be in there. And
Scratch.
just what an incredible game, and it brought everything into focus. I saw what they were trying to do, and I think I was like, oh, I don't know if I gave Control enough credit for some of the stuff it was doing, because I I wasn't the most satisfied with the way that it told the story and the quality of like cutscenes and things like that. I was like, this is kind of loose and weird, and it's not really grabbing me. I didn't care for the characters all that much, but the aesthetic that they were building and this like whole different thing, like just stuff that a lot of other games are not doing at this scale. And I went back to Quantum Break as well, and was also them experimenting, and I could see that it wasn't really working how it was supposed to, and the live action stuff wasn't going great, and I was like, whatever. But yeah, Alan Wake 2 is when it clicked, and then it reverberated my appreciation to the past of like, man, I might not have vibed with Control as much as some people did, even though I did like it, and I might not have liked Quantum Break all that much, but I really respect those games now for what they're doing. And so I was like, let me go back to the origin of all of this, Max Payne 1, which is such a goofy, pulpy video game. First of all, I love the style that they went for of this, like, comic book stretched, like, drenched in neo-noir tropes in a way that, I noticed when thinking about this, there's not a lot of neo-noir stuff in games. If I really think about it, L.A. Noire, which also is like very detective focused, but it doesn't have that same like action Matrix-y energy that Max Payne does. Yeah. And then did I have anything else written over here of like other Disco Elysium, I guess? Has that element to it, but there's nothing that like acts like this game acts. It is so simultaneously self-serious and so tongue-in-cheek, it's ridiculous. Sam Lake, also as a creator, is just such an enigma of a person. He's the most Finnish man who's ever existed. It's just like, I can't pin him down. Like, on one end, people have talked about how he's like, oh, it's narcissistic, he puts himself in all of these games, but he just does it in such a funny, strange way.
The fact that he is Max Payne is just so fucking funny.
He has such a unique look to him, especially like back in the day. I mean, he's like grown, he's had different kinds of unique looks, I guess, but the way that his face is shaped is just so like no other human being looks like Sam Lake. And for him to be like the face of it, obviously he's not the voice actor, but then in Alan Wake, he becomes like this alternate version of Max Payne, who is also being written about by this guy who's the stand-in for Sam. That's ridiculous. But just him being in this game and his entire personality, and obviously Remedy is a bigger studio and they have their own like contributions, but it does really feel like he's one of those video game auteurs that is only now getting his flowers with some of the recent stuff that he's making, even though Max Payne was a big a big franchise. But yeah, I love the detective vibe. It's a little bit unwieldy on if you're playing with a controller. I did play some of this on Steam Deck, which was kind of a Max Payne, if you will. Because like I had to do some bullshit stuff to get it to work on Steam Deck, but I really wanted to do it, and then I started playing it, and I was like, oh, yeah, controller is not the best for this game from back then, where you are shooting and slowing down time. This is very much built for keyboard and mouse, but if you do play on a keyboard and mouse, it holds up really well in terms of how fluid it is, and it has that signature like slow-mo action sequences, again, very Matrix elements to it. And the story is interesting because the story, I played this game super recently, and yet I can't really tell you what happened in it because I just have very bad memory when it comes to plot. But I can feel the story, and I can feel the way it was told because it was just so different. And you don't see people doing that comic book style of storytelling. Infamous did it a little bit, right?
It's just the Punisher, actually. Just neo-noir Punisher.
Yeah, it kind of is, yeah.
Which is cool, but it's better than the Punisher because he's not racist.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I just think there's a place you're transported to with Max Payne that is very different to like when you're talking about Shadow of the Colossus, the place you're transported to there, or you're talking about Final Fantasy, where you're transported into like the worlds themselves and how it feels and how it must feel to be these characters in this place that feels so alive, right? Like when I play Max Payne, I feel transported to like Sam Lake's basement where he's just gushing about all of this weird coffee related Twin Peaks as like I just feel like I'm there, and I'm almost like seeing somebody talk to me about the things that they enjoy and then putting it in this really interesting way for me to experience and to kind of understand and be like, oh, this isn't something that I typically engage with, but you're just so passionate about this, and you're bringing it to life in such an interesting way that I understand it, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of the feeling I get with Max Payne. Yeah. I haven't played Max Payne 2. I've heard Max Payne 2 is really good, so I do want to play it. I also haven't played Max Payne 3, which I've heard was like a big departure. It like changed a lot of things. Obviously, I think it's Rockstar. Right?
It is Rockstar. Yeah. I really want to play Max Payne 3. That's been on my bucket list for a long time because the way that game looks, it looks like so much fun. But I love Max Payne as a choice for this because it is a retro game that feels simultaneously like really old, but really it still feels good at the same time. When I played this game, I was loving it at first, and then there's like a nightmare sequence where like you go into his house that his like family was murdered in, and there's this like specific like horror area where you have to like walk on this bloody line that awful on controller, literally unplayable. I was like, I'm done. I can't play the game anymore. I've blocked out of the rest of the game because I can't get this fucking
that
thing.
Might have been when I switched as well to try and play on my PC. Yeah.
That part is insane. I don't get how the hell they like tested that and released it and how people fucking beat it to this day. I don't know. Maybe it's fine now, but yeah, dude, what a just super talented a studio there, and even like Max Payne is great. Even Alan Wake, I think, is the original is wonderful. And I didn't play Quantum Break. And I really vibe with Control, but I feel the exact same way about the story, dude. Honestly, I think the story in Control sucks.
Yeah.
It's all about the vibes for me, honestly. And I like the setup, and I love this like SCP kind of foundation take on everything. And I like that it merges with Alan Wake as well. That's fucking awesome. And the way they do that is perfect, and how it ties into Alan Wake 2 is amazing as well. I'm very excited for Control 2. I really want to see them do something with it.
I think I'm super stoked for Control 2 after playing Alan Wake 2 and being like, they could fix the things. They could very easily fix the things that I didn't love in Control 1. But, yeah, no. Really interesting stuff that they're doing. I think it's all coming to a head. Also, they're working on remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2. That's going to be super fun to get to experience. Yes. Yeah. Just, I really hope that's... I wonder if they ever make a sequel to that, Because I think the IP is now owned by Rockstar, but Rockstar is fine with them, remaking these games, and they're really pushing that whole Remedy cinematic universe type thing. I wonder if it comes back in some capacity that's not a remake. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. I don't know. I kind of wish that Max Payne itself was tied into the Remedyverse, because they're doing a version of it with was Alex Casey, and you can tell that they just want it to be Max Payne.
Yeah.
But it can't, and that's really unfortunate. What's also really unfortunate is that the voice actor died not so long ago, which really the voice performance of that character is really integral.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It's the same level of like, it's serious, but it's so silly. It's like, I thought that there was a thing over in that place. Like, just what a unique take to like, I don't know. He's got a great voice, but
totally. Yeah.
Well, that was the second one that I wanted to gush about. But Landon, you put in here that you kind of want to talk shit about an old game as well. The taste of the last episode was like, you know what? Let me talk my shit again,
I got a little something spicy. And it's for a game series I fucking love. In fact, probably top 5 franchises of all time for me, maybe. Classic Resident Evil.
Is this Elder Scrolls? Never mind. Yeah. Resident Evil.
I love
Makes
Resident
sense.
Evil, dude. I think honestly, like those are some of the most well-made video games ever made. But for the life of me, I cannot play classic Resident Evil games. It just does not click with me, bro. Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica, X. It doesn't compute. Even the GameCube remake, which I adore from like an aesthetic perspective. I really like the presentation of these games. It's just the actual playing that really makes me frustrated, and I'm like intimidated by, quite frankly. And I've played Silent Hill 1 and 2, which are basically the same, kind of, except less combat focused, which is, kind of speaks to why I can actually play those games. But like 2 especially, Silent Hill 2 especially, because it doesn't have tank controls. There's an option to turn it off, which is huge. In fact, it's primarily because of the tank controls that I can't play these games. I much prefer the remakes. Like I think Resident Evil 2 Remake is one of the most well-designed video games ever made. I've kind of talked about that before, and I try and keep the remakes as faithful as possible to the original game. So like in Resident Evil 2, for instance, I'll use the ribbon ink saving system like the original game, as opposed to just having infinite saves. I'll play on the super hard difficulty. I've played that game on hardcore, and I got an S plus ranking.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed.
Thank you. Oh my god, I love that game. And
Beat Sekiro.
I'll shut up. And I'll also
Stop playing the same fucking Resident Evil. Play Sekiro.
I haven't played
I'll be impressed when you beat Ishin.
I haven't played Resident Evil 2 in like a couple years, all right? Just freaking hop off. And I'll also like keep the music the same as well, like as the original. I love the same thing with PS1 music, to where it's just like I can't believe it sounds this good. I can't believe it sounds so atmospheric and haunting and dreadful. And it's like that, but I can't do it. And the furthest I've gone back is OG Resident Evil 4, which I actually really love that game, and I don't mind how that game plays, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that game feels fine. That game's also really fun on
if
VR.
I'm being honest. So yes, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that game is so awesome on VR. What a man. Good stuff. So yeah, that's the stinky side of retro gaming that I can't get past. I'm curious, though, what game did not jive with you?
Yes, my stinky game. I feel bad calling it stinky. It's not that. I just think that it's one of those ones that definitely didn't age the best in terms of how it was to play. Because like I said, a lot of the time when I'm going back to these retro games, it's because I've played something new and I'm like, okay, I want to go back and play some of the earlier stuff in that series. Which is exactly what happened to me with Prince of Persia. Because I really, really loved The Lost Crown. That was an incredible game. I know that it was a departure from what Prince of Persia had been doing in the 2000s, 2010s. But I thought that it was a really, really great Metroidvania. Super sad to see it go, like the team behind it being kind of dissolved and split off into other Ubisoft ventures. And, well, actually, no, sorry. The team working on that got split off into different things within that studio, but the studio is still alive, to be clear. But yeah, I was like, okay, this is great. I really enjoyed it. I always wanted to get into Prince of Persia, but it was one of those things where when I started getting into games, the most recent Prince of Persia was already a few years old, and it had like kind of okay reception. It wasn't like really talked about. So I think I missed the train on it a little bit. I went back to play Sands of Time, and it just didn't do it for me. It just wasn't. It was just. I liked some of the premise. I liked the kind of real time, reverse time elements, and the kind of fourth wall break that it does, where it's like if you die, it'll be like that's not what happened, and then it'll reverse. It's cute, like, you know, it's a little corny, but it's got a cute little energy to it. I like a lot of what it's trying to do, and I could tell that it would have been a great game if I had played it when it first came out. But I am hoping that this absolute disaster class of a remake that they have been working on, that has had so many weird setbacks and transfers, and who even knows if it comes out at this point, I hope it's able to fix a lot of the actual moment-to-moment gameplay stuff. Because playing this game feels like spamming a few buttons and everything is too spongy, and there's like one move where you kind of like run up the person and come down and hit them, that is far and away the best way to deal with any situation, to the point that like I was trying to force myself to play it in a more like, you know, diverse, engaging way. I was like, maybe I'll put it on myself to play this more stylistically.
Yeah.
And even when I was doing that, I was like, I just feel like I would get this done 3 times as fast if I was just spamming this one move over and over. So at a certain point, I was spamming this move over and over, because you would go into one area, you would have this big like combat sequence with like a bunch of enemies, then you go to the next area in a big combat sequence, and it's just like, okay, well, now I want to fucking speed this along. Yeah, I played I want to say maybe 4 hours of that game. It's not the longest game. I think it's around 10 hours long, maybe runs a little bit longer with how I have no idea. I got a decent chunk of the way into it, but not like up to the halfway point, I think. And just wasn't vibing with it.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer, because it's the exact kind of series that I think I would love. I mean, like I being a big Uncharted fan, right? It has kind of elements of that. Loving parkour, loving time diluting elements in games. Yeah, it seems like it would be up my alley. Also, I'm brown, so, you know, there's that element, I guess.
It contributes. You feel a heritage.
Yeah, it contributes. Exactly. Nothing to do with Persia, but yeah, of course. Yeah, I was expecting more from it.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
My only experience with this, I had a demo disc of one of the Prince of Persia games for the original Xbox that I was obsessed with. I played it over and over again, but I can't imagine going back to these games now. I literally have no concept of how they play. I just remember running on walls and it being pretty cool, but that's really about it.
Yeah, the remake hopefully comes out good. I feel like Prince of Persia has so much potential. You know, Lost Crown was so good. Also, Rogue Prince of Persia is pretty fun, which is the new game from the people who took over, Evil Empire, who took over on Dead Cells for the last like few years of its life cycle, I guess. They put out a roguelike that is now in 1.0, and it's pretty fun, and I really like it.
Awesome.
It's obviously not like a core Prince of Persia type experience, but yeah, like I think this series has a chance to come back. And, you know, Assassin's Creed has gotten so stale, and in my opinion, this was always the more thematically interesting and had like the ability to carry a little bit more water. The only thing was like Assassin's Creed was you can put it anywhere, and it's all the animus, and it's simulated, so it really kind of allowed itself to go out and be whatever it wanted to be, which maybe held Prince of Persia back a little in the long run. But I hope the series can come back in an effective way.
For sure. Cool. Yeah. So that does it for the topic. Yeah, it's been a doozy recording this episode.
Yeah, it really has been.
Yeah, it went a little long too, unfortunately. So we'll try and keep. Fortunately, depending on who's listening to it.
Who's asking? Yeah. Unfortunately for my schedule, but yes.
Yeah. No. So I think we can get through these games, what we are playing, relatively quick, all things considered. I'm gonna go ahead and start. So last episode I talked about Star Wars Battlefront 2. And I was reminiscent. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And my brother hit me up random in the night. He's like, get on Battlefront 2. It was like literally 12 a.m. and I had work the next morning, and I was like, yeah. And so I booted it up and started playing it, and boy, just reminiscing about the good old days. Yeah, just really fun. There's a weird dichotomy with it. I'm playing on PC now, so I don't have any of my shit, my progression from my PS4 days. So I'm starting at ground zero, and I totally forgot that there's a card progression system with the heroes, or like with everyone, every like trooper, but the heroes specifically, where you have to level the characters up by playing them, and then you pick between 3 cards, which is like increase the range of your force attack, improved resistance against blasters, you know, and it's like, fuck, that sucks, because I'm playing against people who are level 127 fucking Darth Sidious, who is like the most OP fucking character in the game, and it's just like, oh great, I'm a level 2 Lando Calrissian. This is not great at all. It's there's a really weird dichotomy there that's just not. It's like fun, but also not fun. But the actual gameplay itself is just so good. It's ridiculous. Everyone's just getting ragdolled like crazy with like the force pushes, the force pulls. Lando has a really great ability where he throws his grenade on the ground, and if you're in the radius of that, you get to see people through walls, and then if they get close to the grenade, you activate it, they get stunned for a bit, you just aim at their head, fucking melts their health bar. It's so satisfying doing it to like a Darth Vader or something like that, who's like ridiculously overpowered, and it's like, yeah, fuck you, I just overcame your ass. It's really toxic too. Like the chat, there was no chat in PS4. There's like a text chat on PC, and people are just like, listen, you can't slur. Like it's censored out, but like they're attempting. And
They're trying.
It's just a lot of
doing
people
everything
like,
they can.
You fucking pussy. You fucking pussy. Why aren't you? Why are you fucking? Some guy's like texting. He's like, I think I'm gonna leave early this match, and I was like, the fuck you are. And so me and my brother just hardcore targeted him. Like we bullied this guy out of playing the game because we were like, why would you leave early, bro? This is a multiplayer game. You're committed. It was so stupid, but had a great time playing it. I guess I might casually play it in the background maybe, but it takes up a lot of space on my PC, so I might have to
Yeah, that's
offload it
always
at
like
some point.
such an annoying thing, especially with like multiplayer games where I'm like, I really want to hop back into this and like play with some people, and then it's like, oh cool, my computer's gonna explode. Like
Yeah, no kidding. I also checked out last night. I checked out the game Peak, which is one of those kind of repo, Lethal Company proximity chat games with your friends, where you kind of they throw you into like a shenanigan things, and it's ridiculously funny. And Peak's been gaining some traction, and we had a great time last night. We actually beat it.
Oh, nice.
Set up until 3 a.m.
Wow.
Trying to attempt it, but yeah, just super fun. Just like going into this like random uncharted land you're climbing. The climbing's really satisfying. It's nice getting like that last little bit, jumping up and then like grabbing like a ledge and like regaining your stamina, akin to Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, a callback.
Yeah, a callback. Really fun, and it's nice. Just like it's so funny. It's just like you're climbing, and then you hear, my friend Josh, he was climbing, and he's like, Landen, and I was like, no, and I tried grabbing him, and he just you could hear him fall.
Oh no!
And he's like, ah, and then I'm screaming. I'm like, Josh,
you good?
Josh, you there? Nothing.
Damn.
And then it's funny when that shit happens, and then you hear them eventually. They're like, you hear them, you're Landen, and I'm like, is that Josh? Josh! And like we pick him back up, and he's like almost dead, and it's like that's so fucking fun. It's just so, I love emergent moments like that. It's just ridiculously, like what an awesome concept for a game, and it's really fun, really funny. There's problems. The proximity chat was not working for one game, which is that's literally half the experience. I would join, I wouldn't hear anyone, no one could hear me, and it was like great. And then so we restarted the game. I could hear people, but some other person couldn't hear anyone, and now they like there's the same situation, and it's like great. I guess we're just gonna talk on Discord at that point, which takes out like 50% of the fun with it. And then also like the game just randomly crashes at points, which is really unfortunate, and just really, it's really early, it's really glitchy, which is you could tell that they didn't expect this to be as big as it was. Which good for them, but also kind of sucks. But I'm willing to work with it because they have something really special here, and I'm excited to play it some more. Eventually. Are you thinking of checking it out?
I should. I mean, like I've heard of it. I actually haven't seen a single ounce of gameplay footage. I've just heard that it's doing well. I thought it was going to be like a Jusant type like solo climbing game, and then I didn't realize that there was like proximity chat features and stuff like that. I actually haven't gotten really into a lot of proximity chat. Like I've never played Lethal Company or Repo, so this is like a whole element of games that I just have not. I don't know. I just haven't been checking out, which I need to.
Yeah, no, I need to get into it more because the most I've played a little bit of Lethal Company. I had a really great time, but the most experience I've had is Content Warning, which is very similar. But it's like you make the YouTube videos and then you post them, and
I've seen that
get
one.
money from that. And that game's ridiculously fun as well. But I think this is my favorite one so far, honestly.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But if you're down to check it out, let me know. and then we can probably set something up.
For sure.
That'd be really
I mean,
fun.
like, I've been ridiculously busy the last little bit, so I haven't been playing much of anything.
It's your call. I'll be there.
Yeah. I mean, like, we still have to play Night Rain. We have a ton of stuff that we definitely have to play.
Yes.
Yeah. I really definitely am the roadblock, but to be fair, I mean, was that the last game that you wanted to mention, by the way?
I have Death Stranding as well, which I'd like to touch on.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, I'll just throw this in there because like mine is super quick, which is just like case in point, me not being able to play games. I have been very slowly, like basically this entire last 2 weeks, the only game I've played is BioShock Infinite, which is not a very long game. I think you can get through it in probably like 10 to 12 hours, and I think I'm just a little over the halfway point. So. I mean, like I'm probably gonna have a speedruns video on this, and just talk about going back to it. I've talked a little bit about how I have tried to go back to BioShock and BioShock Infinite specifically, and it hasn't hit for me. And I've done it again now, and I'm like, I want to commit to actually finishing it this time and seeing how I feel about it. And it's got good elements, but I don't think it holds up. Personally, like I can make that very definitive statement. I think the combat is really, like, really brainless. That's the biggest thing that I'm taking away from it. Like, they didn't design it in a way where you have to make any kind of intelligent decisions in combat. Your health either drains super slowly or super quickly, and it's not really about like getting in cover or moving around. Like, it's not a cover-based shooter like a Doom or like an Uncharted or a Call of Duty, like first person, right? And it's also not like a movement based shooter like Doom or Halo, where like you like it, which is kind of a mix of the two, I guess, where you are going out in the open, you're not taking cover all that much, but moving around is a big component in avoiding things and getting flanks and everything. And BioShock Infinite just feels like you're dropped into this big scene where there's just enemies around all over you with no rhyme or reason, and you just kind of like spray and pray all over the place, and you just spam your vigors and then your gun, and then your vigors, your gun, and just like that element of it I was really surprised with, because I always think about the story and how it's it's definitely very interesting. It gets kind of convoluted. But that's like the highlight of it, that the relationship between Booker and Elizabeth, the weird time travel, multi-reality stuff. But yeah, I did not remember just how clunky the gameplay was, not just in its feel, but in the way that it's designed. So
yeah,
I'll get more into that in that video, but yeah.
I don't remember it being brainless like that. So I'm curious as to whether or not like how I feel about that, but it's been too long for me to like really have like a say,
Yeah.
So I can't fight you on this. But I guess
yeah, because you've said before that this is one of your favorite first-person shooters ever.
Yeah, I think I still think that, but it's been a while, so we'll see. I beat that game on 1999 mode. I got the platinum actually.
Oh,
for that.
Nice.
So it's I love that game. And the final game I got is Death Stranding. I've been obsessed with Death Stranding for I guess it's been like 2 weeks now. I finally finished Clair Obscur, so like I was able to just kind of get balls deep into another game, and now returned to Death Stranding, which I started forever ago before we went to PAX.
And
it's been I just kind of picked up where I left off, and I've been loving it, dude. It's so boring. It's so boring. It's really mindless. It's not really that mindless, but like mundane. It's very mundane, where I'm just picking up packages. I'm picking up materials. I'm building roads. I love building roads, bro. It's really satisfying. Just like getting a huge load and carrying it to another person and just seeing the status bar tick up. You get a lot of likes. You get a lot of like your star increases.
Sounds
the
like
connection
a different
increases.
game,
It's all about
man.
Listen,
giving loads to different people and seeing them like it. And, oh no,
Norman Reedus load deliverer, like, which is funny because he's naked and muscular in that game. Ooh. So it kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's just like I have like a weird like compulsion. I don't know if that's the right word. Just a weird thought with this game where I'm like, Landon, stop doing the side shit. Just you've done enough. Just do the main story, please. And then I get another like side delivery, and I'm like, shit. Fine as fuck. And then I build myself a motorcycle, go deliver it real quick. There's another side order I can do there. Hey, it's on the way back. Might as well just take it. Oh, hey, I found another road I can build. This will help me out in the future. And I really, I don't know. I really like and appreciate that the more you do, the more side shit you do, the more you build, the more other people build in your world. It's very Souls-like, not in terms of combat, don't get me, but like with cooperative, how cooperative it is, where you see player signs everywhere. You see this random ladder or a climbing anchor or a motorcycle that is just left out in the open, and it has someone else's name attached to it, where you could feel the presence of other players, but they're not here. And the more that you engage with that and the more that you become more cooperative, the more you see it in your world, and it's very beneficial. I have so many bridges built in this, and it's kind of comical how cracked my setup is right now, where I can just take massive loads to everyone. You know, I'm going interstate with this, and it's crazy.
Going across the globe, dropping massive loads. It's
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe this is the game.
I still have yet. I think so. No, I think you'd actually not like this game.
Yeah. I was gonna say the thing with this game is I feel like it's there are kind of two modes that I like being in. I like being in the mode of like the combat is flowing so well in this super laid back environment that, man, like I could throw on a podcast or I could throw on a like music in the background and just really enjoy the aspect of playing this game. And then there's the really focused, like, oh, I want to pay attention to the story. I want to pay attention to the little things that people are saying. I obviously, like, a lot of the time with those more vibey games, I'm like, you know, sound design and stuff is important, but they're if I'm going to play a game for the first time where I'm really enjoying it as a vibe, right, I kind of have to be okay with sometimes sacrificing that element of it, of like, I'm going to put on my own kind of environment around this.
Yes.
And I think...
Which I've done with this game.
I just think...
There's like mundane shit, side shit, that it's just like, no, I'm going to put on a stream and just listen to it while I do the menial task. And then when things get serious, that's when I turn everything off and really immerse myself.
Which is like what I would do, but I just feel like I would become kind of... It's just like... It would start bothering me that I'm going through, it's like very casual, and then I have to sit and I have to watch like a really long cutscene, and then, you know, then that ends, and I'm like, okay, how much should I still be paying attention and, you know, getting all my logs and stuff like that, and then put on like this stuff in the like, it's weird, but the external elements of this game and the way that I would want to play it most ideally just feel like they're at odds with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And what sucks too is the combat's like the worst part about this game. It's fine. I think it's serviceable, and it's kind of a little satisfying at times, but it's a little mindless in my opinion. And they make it comically easy too with the director's cut, which adds these guns into it, like these incapacitating guns, because death is a huge deal. You can't kill anyone in the game. If you do, it's a big problem. And so they had like a laser gun that, like, you know, knocks him out, and it's really easy. It's just, I don't know. I'm excited because I've heard a lot about the combat in Death Stranding 2 and how that is the most appealing part of the game. And it's just, I can't even wrap my head around how that is even possible. Yeah. With the context of Death Stranding 1. But I'm excited for like what that means. And I'm really excited to build myself up there. I think I just want to get through Death Stranding. I don't really want to spend that much more time with it. I just want to get into Death Stranding 2. But I don't want to rob myself of Death Stranding as well. So I'm just going to let it flow some more. And let it put its load into me, perhaps. Yes. And
accept Kojima's load.
Thank you, thank you, Kojima.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think that's a good place to put a pin in it.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that. And I'll let you guys know how Kojima treated me after the fact. So now we get into Asad's little indie corner here. So Asad, just tell me what's up with Heavenly Bodies.
Yeah, just button up the episode here. Heavenly Bodies, this is a bit of a different one to a lot of the stuff that I've talked about on the indie corner so far. It's like this goofy solo or couch co-op game about astronauts trying to repair a spaceship. It'll give you like a task list, and it'll tell you how to solve certain issues. And your whole purpose is to go out. You have to like restore satellite dishes or crank things into place, and also just like keep yourself from flying off the ship. For audio listeners only, just so I can explain this to you, it's a 2D game. It's not like a side scroller, but it's that similar 2D side scroller perspective. It's just you don't really like walk back and forth. You're floating in zero gravity trying to grab onto things. It's one of those like wonky games where it's impossible to control how, like, you know, it's like a like almost like a Bennett Foddy-esque game, but it's not quite that level of like frustrating. It's you can still like have an element of control over it, and yeah, I think it gets really, really fun, especially if you're playing it with a friend. I had a friend that I played it with back when I lived in Vancouver a couple years ago, and it was just like so much fun. Your thumbs do cramp up like very quickly because it's so difficult to try and like angle your arm properly around a certain thing and like bring yourself to a certain area to move it around. But it's a really, really fun couch co-op game. There's no online play, unfortunately, but I think if you have it on Steam, you can remote play. And end up with 2 players, and it's available on all platforms. I personally played it on PlayStation, but yeah, check it out, especially if you want a new couch co-op game.
For sure. Yeah, looks really fun. Very delightful. I've actually seen the game around too.
Oh, have you?
I thought it looked really neat. Yeah, I haven't like actually like looked into it, but I've seen like the orange spacesuit guy.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. That does it for episode 6
Yes, sir.
of the Code Cleric podcast. Yeah, what a doozy this was to record.
Yeah,
Fuck,
hopefully
dude.
we smoothed it over on your guys' end, but
Yeah.
this was a nightmare to get put together.
I have some calls to make.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it's like next week. And yeah, Asad, do you have any final thoughts before we get the hell out of here?
I mean, as always, let us know what your favorite retro games are. Leave a comment, leave a review on any of the platforms that Code Cleric is currently on. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Let us know what you guys want to see from us next, and thanks for watching to the end. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. I second that. Cool. Well, thank you guys very much. Peace out.
Yeah.